Sup, bro chachos? Today, as the title suggests, we're going to be talking about tuners, and I'm going to tell you my number one choice for Harley-Davidson tuners. Before I jump into it, as you can see behind me, Miguel's Mini Cooper is still in a bunch of parts. Hopefully we're going to get to it this weekend and finish it up. We've been waiting on some additional pieces to install the turbo kit. The GTR over there still has not sold, so for any of those of you who are interested in buying a GTR, we have a really nice one for sale. And then Witchcraft over there is looking all sexy and stuff, waiting to be ridden. This thing is a beast mode for those who have not seen the build series on Witchcraft. Absolutely insane. Let me show you just real quick on the other side of her. Look at that stage 3 plus goodness. She's absolutely ridiculous, just a monster of a build. Of course, there was a bike that I forgot to mention, so let's just jump into it. And as y'all see, the green machine is looking pretty, looking good, ready for a whole lot of parts, and for us to kick off this build series. Hopefully you guys checked out the last video. And as you can see over there, we already have tons of parts in. By the way, for those who don't know, this build is dedicated to my late father, and there's a whole backstory on the green machine, so go ahead and check out that video because I'm not gonna say it again. It gets me all emotional every time I talk about it. On that note, bro chachos, go ahead and roll the intro. Welcome back, amigos. Like we like to say in Hispanic. As you guessed it, our tuner is not in this box. This is in fact a pound of booger sugar. I'm just kidding. No, seriously. This is our tuner. Well, not the FedEx box, inside of the FedEx box. I tried Dyna, several versions. PV3, PV4, Power Commander, or is it Power Commander or Commander? I always forget. I've tried a bunch of those. I've tried the fuel pack, and I've tried Harley-Davidson's tuner. Oh, almost forgot one. And ThunderMax. Now, out of all the tuners, there's pros and cons to every single one of these. Don't let anybody tell you that there's one specific tuner that is the best tuner. Wait a second. I think that's what I'm doing in this video. I'm telling you which tuner is the best tuner. Is this like a paradox? There is no real, per se, best tuner. There's the best tuner for you. Now, in some cases, there is going to be the best tuner, and in my opinion, it's the one in this FedEx box. So, the first tuner that I'm going to talk about, and once again, people, this is for Harley-Davidson. So if you come on here and you're like, well, there's this tuner and that tuner that you're forgetting about, Witchcraft, our Ninja H2, has a different tuner than the one I'm going to show you. And other bikes that we've had, also, I've had different tuners. So once again, for Harley-Davidson. So if you just had a new build and you're at the dealership and they're recommending that you go with Harley's Eagle tuner device, is that a good tuner? It's also a good tuner, but you're not gonna get the maximum performance out of your Harley. And there's a reason for that, people. They warranty your motors. So if you wanna keep your warranty, then that tuner is the best tuner for you. Hate to break it to you. But for those of us who don't give a shit about voiding our warranties. In fact, we almost thrive on voiding our warranties. Well, that's where the rest of these tuners come in. Now, Vance & Hines makes the fuel pack, which is also a good tuner. It's very turnkey in terms of you can do it at home. You plug the device in, you go into the application, and you can adjust which tune you have. Super easy. Now, there have been mixed reviews on the fuel pack. I'm not gonna get into every single one of those reviews. I'm personally not a fan of the fuel pack. Doesn't mean that it's a bad tuner. I have friends who do run those tuners. It's not getting the most out of your engine, but nonetheless, it's a good option. Then you have the Power Vision. I believe we're on 4 right now. Now we're getting a little bit more expensive in options, and the Power Vision 4, for the most part, will require somebody to tune your Harley-Davidson. Now, some of you might say, well, they can technically flash a tune on and all you have to do is buy a license. And that is true, especially for like lower stage kits. But from personal experience, I would highly recommend you avoid any off-the-shelf tunes for Power Vision. Some people have said they're super safe. From experience, my bike has acted kind of funny when I'm using an off-the-shelf tune from them. So I would not recommend you go that route. If you're planning on going the Power Vision route, I do recommend you go ahead and get your bike dynoed. Or actually more accurately, dyno tuned by a professional tuner like I have. If you've been on the channel for some time, My tuner is Chris. His handle is @sick wide glide. He's also Blockhead's tuner. He's been tuning our bikes for years and years and years. He tunes pretty much everybody's bike, and he's really freaking good at it. Well, being good at something means us, the end users, have to pay a fee for that. And so getting your bike on a dyno is extremely expensive to go that route. But the good news is with that is obviously you're getting a custom tailored option to your Harley-Davidson. It is very specific to your bike. And something that any of us bike builders will tell you is every single bike, regardless of us having the exact same parts on our bike, is going to be different. We could be in the same house, two of the exact same model bikes with every single of the exact same modifications, and our tunes could be completely different. So you just want to keep that in mind. It can become very costly when going with a Power Vision. The other option is for those of you guys who are looking to force induce your motorcycle. I don't even know if I just said that right. Force induce. Forced induction, people. There's really only one tuner on the market that has perfected that, and that is the ThunderMax tuner. Whether you go with Trask Performance or other brands who offer turbo systems or Pro Chargers, or is it Superchargers? Because Pro Charger is technically the brand. So Superchargers, ThunderMax is the go-to option. Now, ever since the Street Glide, one of the biggest questions I get asked all the time is, what if I don't turbocharge my bike and I'm a DIY mechanic in my house? I just added an exhaust system, or I'm planning on adding an exhaust system. I'm planning on making it a stage 2 myself. I'm planning on, throwing cams in the bike myself. I'm planning on putting new heads on myself, etc. You like to touch your projects yourself, and I don't have money to go out and spend a ton of money on tuning. Well, that's where ThunderMax comes in. And that's right, people. ThunderMax is what we're going to be putting on the green machine to do all of our tuning. And so many of you know I've used ThunderMax in my Street Glide build, and I was really happy with the performance. Now, what's really good about the ThunderMax is you don't need a turbo system, people. So let's say you're one of my subscribers or viewers who's like, dude, I'm not turbocharging my Harley. I want that raw Harley power sound. Well, you could still use a ThunderMax tuner. Let's say you guys just got an exhaust at Harley-Davidson and you got an intake and you're like, well, I really don't care about my warranty and I really want to squeeze the most out of my 107 cubic inch Milwaukee 8 motor. ThunderMax. Now, in terms of price point, ThunderMax is not the cheapest option out of the gate. ThunderMax is the most expensive option actually out of the gate. But the benefit is if you add everything together in terms of what it would cost you to actually get your bike dyno tuned by a professional tuner who has any credibility, plus the tuner, you're gonna be way more expensive than what this system would cost you. And this is an auto tuner if I haven't mentioned it already. It has over 4,000 tuning points, which for those of you all who've never tuned a car or a motorcycle before, that's a shitload, jabroni. And for those who haven't watched any of my turbo videos, this thing updates the fueling points every 256 RPMs. Don't ask me how I know that, people. Although I am really, really nerdy. This thing adjusts the air-fuel ratio in a very, very safe way. And we noticed that with our last build. And that's exactly why we went with ThunderMax, aside from they are made in the USA, America. This thing will help save your Harley from grenading. And trust me, we learned that from experience running this setup. If this thing slightly sees a sensor or something off on your bike, in order to preserve your motor and your bike and your investment, this thing changes things up and lets you know very quickly there's something wrong with your Harley-Davidson. I don't know about you, but when you've spent tens of thousands of dollars on these things as an investment, or at least that's what we like to tell our wives, or wives, if you have really cool husbands, maybe you don't even have to tell them that. You just modify your Harley, not even say it's an investment. But anyways, you want to protect your investment. This is it, bro chachos. And it's super simple to install. Of course, we're going to go ahead and install it on the green machine and take this thing out for a test ride. We already have a lot of experience with this. There's plenty of videos online showing you how to install this thing, but it really is super simple. This video isn't an install video. I'm giving you my personal opinion on why I like the ThunderMax system. Well, why I love the ThunderMax system. since this whole build is going to be done in the Bertini garage, including the engine swap to the S&S crate motor, the 136. You're going to have to stay tuned in for that video. The Trask Performance turbo system, also going to be done here in this garage. And all the other modifications that we're going to be doing, this just makes it that much more simple if you're a DIY mechanic. For those who know, I am batshit stupid. The term dumber than a bag of bricks, I almost said a bag of dicks. Bag of bricks? Well, that is definitely about me, people. So if I could do it, you can do it too. Not be dumber than a bag of bricks. But you can install this thing and have your motorcycle, Harley-Davidson America, running really, really good. Let's go ahead and get this thing on the green machine and take it out for a ride, which I'm not too excited about because right now it is freezing out here in Florida. It's snowing. And so we are going to have to wear a little bit of warmer clothing to do that. But nonetheless, super easy. This shouldn't take but 15-20 minutes to get installed on here and everything working. And enough talking. Let's just do it. Oh my God, that was the bubble wrap. As I was saying, let's get to it. Alrighty, amigos. Like we like to say in Hispanic, we got the ThunderMax installed. This thing looks super fresh. It fits in there just like factory, ultra flush. We got our wiring all done up, super pretty. Used all the cable ties and stuff to make it nice and looking clean. As you can see, there goes our ThunderMax O2 sensor. And there goes the one on the front. Now what we need to do is plug in our USB cable to here that ThunderMax sends us. And we're gonna go and go through all the programming with this thing. Then we're gonna take it out on the road. I maybe have 45 minutes into this thing so far. Like, that's how super simple this thing is. What I am gonna do before I go ahead and do all that though, I'm gonna go ahead and put back all my side covers, my bags. This way, all I have left to do is to put on the seat. Once I'm done, we can go out for a ride.
All right, guys, I'm gonna tell you immediately, there is a noticeable difference in the performance of this 107 cubic inch Milwaukee 8 motor. Now, I don't remember or not if I showed it in video, but one thing I found about as I was installing the ThunderMax is this bike actually had a tune on it. Well, not necessarily a tune, but it had the Fuel Pack 4 on it, I believe it is. And let me tell you, noticeable difference already in performance. Like, and once again, I'm not trying to shit on the Fuel Pack. As I mentioned earlier, I think it's good for what it is. But man, the performance is like night and day difference right now between what was on here versus what's on here now. I mean, it's just, the torque is so much more torquey. That sounded funny. The torque is so much more torquey now. Man, it sounds more like a Harley now. Oh, it sounds so good. And it's a lot more torquey. It's a lot more responsive than what it was before. Oh man, this is nice. And what's good too, by the way, is I haven't even went through any cycles yet on this system, which means other than the base cycles that you're supposed to go through, which is the 30-second on, 30-second off procedure that you have to do 3 times when uploading new maps to this system, I haven't even, like, this is my first ride, which means the tune is only going to get better and more refined. As I mentioned, every 256 RPMs, over 4,000 tuning points. Like, it's a big difference of what's going to become of this bike as time progresses and as you ride. Oh man, this I mean, for a 107, man, this thing is really moving. As you progress, as you ride the bike, it's only going to get better because this system just constantly is making those changes, right? And so it's just going to continue to get better, more refined, better performance, better torque, better horsepower, etc. And what's great about the system too is this is a very rideable bike. Like, that's the other thing with tuning. You have some tuners, and I'm very fortunate because Chris, he would always tune my bikes to have like the right performance hitting at the right time. So the bike was always really rideable. I mean, obviously the street guy got to a point where it was just absolutely ridiculous power with the 131 turbo, but I mean, other than that, the bike was extremely rideable. But some tuners that are out there tune to make the bike get the maximum amount of power and the maximum amount of torque, and it's all the time. Just, it's like a switch, on or off. The problem with that is you want your bike to be rideable and enjoyable. You don't want so much power to where it's like coming on at crazy RPMs and then the bike is not rideable anymore, especially if you have traffic where you're at or you're daily driving your Harley. You definitely don't want that. Something I'm going to recommend to you all that was recommended to me by Eric Larson over at Trask Performance is whenever you install a ThunderMax system, take it out for a ride, and maybe every 10 to 15 minutes, just take a quick pit stop, turn the bike off, let it rest for like 30 seconds, and then get back on it, rewrite it. And if you do that a couple of times, the system is just, like I said, it's going to keep getting more and more refined, because as you turn off the bike and then turn it on, it starts on with the new parameters, the new adjustments that it made. So all the AFR, all the tweaks that it found, it's going to make it better and better. And people, this isn't every gear. So I'm not sure if you're aware, but not all tuners tune in every single gear. They tune in specific gears, whether that be third or fourth gear. This thing is tuning in first through sixth gear. I'm telling you, this is the best bang for your buck, especially because from a performance standpoint, you're getting a much more rideable, enjoyable bike that's also, like I mentioned earlier, much more safe on your motor, on your Harley, on your investment, and you're getting the most amount of horsepower and torque out of your motor. I was about to make a quick stop, but then I realized this bike has no ABS, and for those who have never ridden a bike with no ABS, you all know, don't be doing no emergency dumb stops unless you're planning on putting on a drift show. Now we'll go through our first cycle on this thing, and oh, we're in a hill. That would have been very, very bad. I'm gonna walk it forward. Ow, I pinched my Peter. That hurt. Ooh, it's the problem with riding pins. They're very aggressive on the inside. Take some thumbnails. Oh man, guys, the Green Machine is looking good. And I'm loving this chrome build. This thing looks so sweet. I can't wait to do the handlebars though. I'll tell you what, those handlebars are not comfortable anymore. I think the whole wide stance on them is starting to get to me, but we're going to be changing those out, so won't have to deal with those anymore. Well, we did our heat cycle. Now we could go ahead and jump back on the Green Machine, take it out for another ride. And now all of our tuning points are going to be updated in the ThunderMax. So we're going to have all those AFR adjustments that it made. It's now going to have them on the ThunderMax. And so this is a whole new one that we're going to go off of. All right, let's see how these fuel adjustments are now, and try not to drift this thing without traction control. I don't know what the hell I just said. Oh, baby! Oh, this thing is ripping. I'm going to go out on a limb and say this, but if you have a different tuner on your bike, you need to make the switch. This is the real deal, people, especially for those of you guys who are like me, who have a 107 cubic inch motor and have an air cleaner and an exhaust. You do this, you're going to feel like you have a completely different bike. What a difference this thing made. Holy crap. It's cool because when you do certain performance parts, sometimes, especially for somebody like me who's done everything balls to the wall on some of my builds, actually, correction, on all of my builds, some performance parts, you don't really notice a huge difference, like a dramatic difference. You notice a difference, but not dramatic. This is a dramatic difference, people, like real dramatic. Holy crap! Oh man, it's a 107. It doesn't make sense. Oh, this is nice. This is really nice. The boys over at ThunderMax really killed it with this one, man. I'm very pleased with my purchase. On that note, I'm probably going to do about 3 to 4 more of these kind of cycles. So I'm going to stop every 15 minutes, just turn the bike off, put it back on, turn the bike off, put it back on. And then eventually I'm going to hook it back up to my computer, and that's going to become my new saved map with all of my new fueling adjustments. So that's my plan. People, hopefully you have found this video useful or entertaining, and if you have, do me a big favor and click that like button. And I'm hoping y'all decide to subscribe to the YouTube channel. This way you can stay up to date on the build series that we're doing for the Green Machine, and obviously all of our other build series videos. With that being said, there's going to be a link to ThunderMax's website. As always, I always include links in the description box below. I'm gonna hit them up and see if I can get a discount code. Hopefully I can for y'all, and if I can, it'll be in the description box below. And if I can't, well, I'm sorry, people. I'm sorry. I tried my best. And most importantly of all, make sure you're putting out good energy into the world and you're paying it forward. Stay tuned in for this build series. We're going to be at Daytona Bike Week. It's going to be crazy. I'll check y'all out later. Bye now.